KBLA Talk 1580. We fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
And you better talk to me nicely. Next to blow lip, that might be. Oh. Can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice we know. Talk to me nicely. I noticed they hit it, we getting icy. Whoa. Can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice we know. On top,
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima in for Areva Martin. And she'll be back Thursday, but right now you got me. I'm happy to be filling in for Miss Areva in real time. And we're going to do it kind of how Areva does it, kind of not so much how Areva does it. So I'm telling you right now, talk to me nicely, but you can talk to me, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Yeah, I got guests just like Areva. We got news. We're following the pattern. But me and Andy, we're swerving a little bit, so we're taking your phone calls right now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Many of my KBLA delegation that joins me weekday mornings from 6 to 9, I know is on YouTube going, what? Yes, I'm on today, and tomorrow you'll have Dr. Nicolai Corte. We're holding it down for Sis while she does lawyer things. But look, I'm doing something a little different, like I like to do on my show. If you want to talk to me, just do it nicely. Ilya Daly from our brand manager, it just is objecting to my attire because I usually come in here in business attire. What is this?
KBLA.
What? Andy, do I change? No. Andy says no, don't represent KBLA. Oh, don't let Tavis hear. Change or no change? You want my workout attire or shall I rep KBLA? I mean, it is a cute shirt. Is this the one we got for the cleanup? Yeah. Reppin' Earth Day.
I just like the purple that you have on. You know, it just represents the Lakers.
It's giving Prince. Oh, it's giving Lakers. Yeah. Well, we need all the help we can get.
100%.
So maybe I shouldn't change. I mean, this does have yellow. Those are Laker colors. Together, I don't know. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. Let me stop fooling around. But that's what I do. Those of you who who join me in the mornings, appreciate you. So what a day, what a news cycle, so many important things to touch on. So for right now, Trump will not be fined, and no ruling on that gag order, the please shut up order to the former president. Judge Juan Merchan says he has reserved judgment, but he is not at this time granting prosecutors' request for the maximum fine. He did lambast the lawyer, saying you're losing all credibility. And the testimony in court today, the former leader of the National Enquirer, well, it showed the extent to which the campaign of Donald Trump was actually orchestrating headlines in the Enquirer to help him win the election. That was just an interesting peek behind the scenes. Don't think it's illegal. Shady, yes. Illegal, not so much. Mass protests continue to spread across the U.S. In colleges. So far, police have been breaking up encampments, one at Columbia University yesterday. Earlier today, dozens of students at Yale were arrested, and Columbia, as you know, canceling in-person classes. But now those student encampments are springing up all across the nation, not just at the Ivy Leagues, but they seem to be setting the tone. UC Berkeley, MIT, University of Michigan, Emerson College, Tufts, the students calling for divestment by the university in the war machine, in the funding of the war in Israel. So far, the response, suppression more than conversation. The UN Human Rights Chief, Volker Turk, said he was horrified by reports of mass graves with hundreds of bodies at two of Gaza's biggest hospitals. The bodies were being exhumed from mass graves outside the Nasser Hospital complex in Khan Yunis. IDF saying that they were moving bodies around as part of their search there, but an investigation now underway, they say. Here in Los Angeles, a suspect has been arrested in the shooting of a motorcycle sheriff deputy in West Covina. 47-year-old Raymundo Duran was arrested Monday on suspicion of DUI and weapons possession. That motorcycle cop apparently was shot in the back while on his bike in traffic. A new study today should give a lot of folks pause. Women who go to the hospital are less likely to go back to the hospital or die if they're treated by female doctors. That's according to a study published Monday in the Annals of Internal Medicine. In that study, it was people 65 and up. It seemed like a really small number. 8.38% of women died after being treated by male physicians within 30 days, or compared to 8.1 by female physicians. But the researchers say that small difference adds up to about 5,000 women's lives each and every year. And that was a huge study, almost 1 million male and female patients from 2016 through 2019. It's part of a trend that we're seeing with data that seems to show, and we've seen this with, the studies around black babies, black infants being less likely to die when treated by black physicians, women and minority patients. From another study from the Yale School of Public Health found that women and BIPOC patients are 30% more likely to be misdiagnosed than white men. And they're saying, the researchers say they don't quite know why, but it could be that women are more likely to understand what women are saying when they describe what's going on with their bodies. This news seems particularly ironic in light of the fact that we have seen the restriction and rescinding of women's right to make decision over our own bodies. Seems very ironic that a study would come out showing that actually when women are making decisions for women, we are more likely to, survive. Like I said, you can call me. Now, there's been a lot of controversy and conversation around the salaries of women in the WNBA following the draft, which was probably, at least in my lifetime, the most paid attention to, publicized WNBA draft ever, in a disparity in salaries. But in today's USA Today, there is an article that explains that there are no black WNBA players with signature shoes. And if you go back in time sometime, back a decade, all of the WNBA players with shoe deals were black. But in this decade, apparently that's not a thing anymore. Even though the superstars of the league are mostly black women. So I think that this revelation will certainly add fuel to the fire, especially given that we know with the humongous deal that Caitlin Clark just signed with Nike, she is almost certain to have a shoe dropping anytime, sometime soon. We got a lot to talk about as usual. One of the stories that I hate the most and seems to get talked about the least considering the scope of it is the women's gymnastics scandal, the scandal around the sexual abuse of those champion gymnasts and not so champion gymnasts. The Justice Department saying today it will pay $138.7 million to resolve claims by women and girls, including some of the most famous gymnasts in the world, because of the sexual abuse that they suffered by Dr. Lawrence Nassar, who's now in jail, but he was the USA Gymnastics doctor. Now, a bunch of money has been paid out by different agencies because of their part in not protecting these women. But the FBI's, possibly the most egregious, led to an actual apology that's unheard of from the FBI for not doing what they were supposed to do and following up on these claims, even when the women said they were presented with evidence that the FBI agents on the case just slow-walked it or paid no attention. Nassar is serving a 60-year sentence. He's already been stabbed a bunch of times by an inmate there, so it doesn't look like he will make those 60 years. But this is going to add up to about $1 million each for these women who have been, really many of them, one committed suicide, but many have been having severe trauma, mental health problems ever since. And I just think that I like to talk about it because these stories continue. You still hear how women's abuse is minimized, especially when they're young girls. And that, to me, is crazy. If it's a child, a teenager, it's your job to protect them. Michigan State University paid $500 million into a victim compensation fund. This is in 2018. And it's reportedly the biggest settlement by a university. And this, again, around gymnastics. USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee paying $380 million. All of this is around this one doctor. And, of course, the price that these women are paying to their mental health and whatever other impacts they'll have, well, they'll suffer that for the rest of their lives. Looking forward to talking with a great lineup of guests today, and we'll go over these issues and more. Sharon Reed of the Sharon Reed Show and Rashad Frazier Gaines, founder of Black Progressives, join me next exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting connected has never been easier. Get free Wi-Fi at all LA County library locations, inside the library and outside in the parking lots. Visit your local library and get connected today.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in wash scent beads.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had leaf filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1893 $10 gold Liberty coins has been found. These gorgeous 1893p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed an 1893 gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1893 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 131 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-473-3993. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus of $50 value free with every order. Call 1-800-473-3993 now to secure your 1893p $10 gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-473-3993.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
And I'm not used to that. Am I on a Areva show? What is actually happening, Andy? It's Dominique DiPrima in for Areva Martin in real time. And I'm excited to welcome into the space, well, I guess couple of regular contributors, but new to me because I'm on in the mornings. The host of the Sharon Reed Show on the In the Black Network. Sharon Reed, hello.
Hi, Dominique. I'm excited to be on with you. I catch your show.
Oh, yay. Well, maybe sometime we'll steal you away from Areva just for one day and you can come on in the morning. And Rashad Fraser Gaines, pleasure to meet you, founder of Black Progressives. Welcome.
Nice to meet you as well. Glad to be on with you.
Yeah, so much in the news. I wonder what you think about, we'll start with you, Rashad, just because progressives weighing in on what we saw today in court with Donald Trump's criminal trial around the campaign interference. They call it the hush money case. It actually made me want to have a tabloid publisher as my bestie, so I could just get them to publish crap about, whoever I don't like. But what was your takeaway? Hello?
All of this stuff is really disconcerting, right? It's very sad to watch. It's showing you that the justice system is showing you the realities of what we're dealing with in the justice system, and it's showing you the reality of what we're dealing with when it comes to corporate media. And then it's really, for me, it's showing some of the problems that we as humans have with the way we consume information and don't really question everything that we're seeing and we're hearing.
Okay, so what are we not questioning? I mean, I think a lot of people are not paying that much attention at all. But what are you talking about? We the media, or just we the consumers? And what is it that we're missing here?
The consumers, because it's like all of this stuff with Donald Trump. This stuff has been going on for years. How did this man become president? Somebody that consumed that information took it as truth and ran with it, right? It's not like this stuff with Donald Trump happened yesterday and he's on trial today. He's on trial for things that have been happening over a large period of time. And
well,
he's
yeah.
just continuing get away with it, and everything builds to him. It bends to him. The justice system is bending to him. Media has bent to him. So I don't know what we're seeing, because I'm not sure that we're going to get a verdict of guilty on any of this stuff.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, guilty or not, Sharon Reed, I feel like it does present problems for Trump and his campaign. He's got to be sitting there instead of campaigning. I do believe that it will impact some people who just, will start to associate him with criminality as more of these salacious and really interesting details about the ways in which they manipulated the 2024 election come to light. Do you see that, or am I suffering from wishful thinking?
I absolutely see it too. I think that those remaining people who are waiting on this window, even though there's no cameras in the courtroom, into this world of criminality, catch and kill, and everything that, as you said, being besties with a supermarket tabloid king gets you. The bottom line is, yes, for some people, they will finally get a little bit of a wake-up call. We're getting closer to the election, and they're dialed in. I refer to those people as privileged, because I don't know what more you need to see to turn away from this man. As I watched the coverage of the trial today, I found it to be more breaking a code of narcissism. It's like the DNA code of narcissism broken. Someone who could fix and do whatever they wanted and never be held accountable, including when he goes down on breaks. And the former president did it again today, where woe is me. Another word that comes to mind is Karenicity. He's doing all those things that he's claiming others are doing. It's the height of Karenicity, and he's the chief male Karen. So it's fascinating to learn this. I will say this, to Rashad's point, while the mainstream media may not be as soiled as, say, the National Enquirer and overt, blatant, whatever other adjective you want to throw in there, every day stories are chosen, ignored, framed in a way that gets a point of view across that many people don't agree with, and it's not their experience. But this was just, riveting.
To me, there's a copycat thing that happens in the media, Rashad, and maybe that's what you're talking about. Like, everyone now says the hush money trial instead of saying the election interference trial, which is really what it is. It's, paying somebody off to keep something out of the news so that you don't lose the election, and then hiding it so that it seems like you spent the money on actual legal fees and lying about it for tax purposes, among other things. I mean, so when we say hush money trial, it sounds like it's just paying off Stormy Daniels. But I think we tend to, people get these phrases and we go with it. And so talk to me about how, as, progressives or just independent-minded consumers, we ought to be doing differently.
So I will say this. I grew up in an age where we had encyclopedias and dictionaries in the house, right?
Same.
So, and I know you and Sharon are completely understand what I'm about to say. I think that we're losing the art or the science of researching, right? Because the reality is everything that is put online isn't credible. Like, there are websites that look credible that, aren't. So the notion of me saying, well, folks should do their own research, that's easier said than done, right? That, who has
yes
time
and no, you can, I have to push back on that. You can go to, you can go to Google News and put in any topic, and they'll give you the Wall Street Journal version and the Nation version. You can get the left and the right wing take on an issue in one Google search or one DuckDuckGo search.
So yes, and that is true. I just don't know if the internet should be our definitive source on researching. And then I'll also say this: even if we shouldn't be looking at the left or the right wing view on things. Like, can we just get a pure?
No,
these are the facts
no, we can't.
and
No, we
no
can't.
slant?
I think when people say they're doing that, they're usually full of it. You know, I'm objective means I'm spouting the mainstream white male version of reality. I wish we would all admit that we can only see the world through our own eyes and just try our best to be fair. I think you do need to look at what the left is saying and what the right is saying and what the center is saying, and then use your own head. There's a reason God gave each of us one. I mean, I don't know that I disagree with you. I think I still have my encyclopedias and my dictionary, but I prefer the internet because it's more up to date.
It's a little bit easier, right? It's a little bit quicker. It's at our fingertips. All I'm saying is that we are living in a world now where you can't always trust what you read, right? I'm not sure that everyone is going to take this approach that we take. Like, we are I don't want to say we're skeptic, but we see something, we hear something, and it's like, that don't sound right. Let me dig a little bit further. If more people would just dig a little bit further, I think we'd be okay. But we're not okay because most people in America are not willing to go the extra mile.
And really what you're talking about is media literacy. And we're not going to retreat from the internet. So if we don't learn to check the source and understand why that source is slanted the way it is, we're just going to keep falling for the okie doke. I think that's an issue. It's something we're going to have to start teaching in school if they're not already starting. I know they are in some school districts, but grown folks need it more than kids. Kids are a little better at discerning. We need that in the senior centers. Continuing our conversation after news, traffic, and sports, it's Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is meeting with college leaders amidst ongoing pro-Palestinian protests aiming to prevent escalation. Adams, who is Black, emphasizes that schools like Columbia and NYU are for education, not managing volatile situations. He warns of outside agitators inciting violence, urging schools to tighten security and identify non-students on campus. President Biden is set to speak at the commencement ceremony for one of the country's top historically Black colleges. Biden will speak at Morehouse College for the ceremony scheduled on Sunday, May 19th. Posts on social media have been calling for students at the college to stage a walkout in protest of Biden's support for Israel. Biden has reiterated support for the country in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war. Both Biden and former President Trump have been campaigning around Georgia to influence Black voters in the state. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Back in Baldwin Park on the 10 East at the 605, an accident involving 3 vehicles is on the right shoulder, with a 20-minute backup running heavy from Soto Street. Expect an hour and 10 minutes of heavy traffic in Santa Monica's 10 East between 20th Street and the 5101 interchange. Heavy traffic in Linwood continues from the 405 over 35 minutes on the 105 East before the 710 Garfield Avenue interchange as an accident's on the right shoulder.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Their recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers are back in action tonight against Dallas. It's game 2 of the best-of-7 first-round playoff series. 7 p.m. tip-off on TNT. The Clippers have a 1-0 lead. Kawhi Leonard is questionable again with a sore right knee. Kawhi has been limited to non-contact drills in practice over the past week. He has not played since March 31st. If Kawhi does not suit up, the Clippers will have to do a much better job defensively on Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. The Dallas duo combined for 64 points and 17 free throw attempts in Game 1. Some very troubling numbers for the Lakers after 2 losses to Denver. The Lakers bench has scored only 17 points in the 2 games, all by reserve forward Taurean Prince. Spencer Dinwiddie, Gabe Vincent, and Jackson Hayes are scoreless in both games. The Lakers will need a dramatic improvement from their bench for Game 3 Thursday night. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, yo, come on. At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey! I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
It's time for California Community College's Black Student Success Week. This week-long event, held April 22nd through the 26th, is an opportunity to focus on innovative approaches to ensuring Black and African American students succeed in their educational pursuits. Black Student Success Week 2024, building a better future together. The urgency is now. For more information, visit blackstudentsuccess.com. That's blkstudentsuccess.com.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
And it's Dominique DiPrima in real time, just for the time being, filling in for Areva Martin. She'll be back with you on Thursday, and I am happy to be talking with two of her regular contributors, Sharon Reed from the Sharon Reed Show on the In the Black Network, and Rashad Frazier Gaines, founder of Black Progressives. I'm going to start with you on this one, Sharon Reed. You know, there is, obviously it's election season, and there's a widespread thought among many Democrats that a woman's right to choose or abortion is going to be a deal breaker or maker at the ballot box in November. This is playing out in North Carolina in particular, where Democrats plan to spend $10 million. Planned Parenthood, I should say, spending $10 million to back Democrats there. What I did not realize is that North Carolina is the last state in the Deep South where abortion is still legal after 6 weeks of pregnancy. And you've got this outrageous Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, who's running for governor on the Republican ticket. He wants a ban on all abortions, no matter what, even if the mom would die. How do you process this playing out in North Carolina and in particular across the country as a 2024 issue?
I think the Republican Party in its current form is right to be fearful of soccer moms everywhere from coast to coast. Abortion is more popular than ever. That what I just said is not controversial. You have 97%, I believe the polling shows, of people, men and women, who believe there should be an option for a woman to be able to choose an abortion. And then you could go down the disqualifiers, right? In some say in all cases, some say only rape and incest, but 97%, some of the polling shows, people don't want to go backwards, and they can show you better than they can tell you. My belief is that it will play out in a way that will be sweeping and decisive. And perhaps there will be enough carryover towards November on the man who claims that he destroyed Roe v. Wade and now is backtracking on it. But I really think voters everywhere will have their say.
I mean, he's backtracking on it. Carrie Lake is backtracking on it right in Arizona. But Arizona anti-abortion activists, even though they won, they had this huge victory at the state Supreme Court, setting us back to the 1800s. They are still pushing. They are still boycotting and picketing at clinics. They are still saying it's not enough because they want stricter penalization of women. They want women to go to jail for making choices about their own bodies. But so I don't know that I don't know that Republicans, the backing away, I don't know that it's really going to work.
I definitely don't think it's going to work. And I think that it's so dangerous. And that's the problem. You know, there's that saying, or some variation of it, just, you know, take the win, okay? But they couldn't do that. They literally want to moonwalk all the way back to the 1800s, which, as a person of color, that should give additional pause, because what's next, okay? If you want to travel all the way back in time when, you know, older men were able to marry 12-year-olds and younger, women were basically property back then what is next? And it's why one has to consider that there's a certain element in this country that has got to be dealt with through the front door. And that's what we're seeing when you're not necessarily asleep, but when you're so used to this right, you see it as a fundamental right, that anyone even talking about it for decades, we're going to take it away, we're going to try to do all we can, you do fall asleep at the wheel. And one day you wake up and you don't have that fundamental right any longer. This perhaps is the wake-up call that people needed to take care of this remedy at the ballot box, in the halls of Congress, to get it done once and for all.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's like we keep hearing, you know, this is the most important election of your lifetime, every election. And then we just roll our eyes and go, yeah, okay. But Rashad, Fraser Gaines, I want to ask you, because I wonder about this issue, particularly with black men, especially against the background of the supposed migration of some black men over to Team Trump, that, you know, and some black women too. I mean, there's a good slice of our community that is socially conservative, that is not in favor of abortion at all. And I wonder how this issue, if it plays the same way in the African American community, or if in some ways, particularly with black men, it could play into Trump's hands.
So I'll say this. I believe that the black community, you know, if we ever have another black political convention or a big family reunion, we can talk about this over the space table, right? but I think we do have to have real conversations about like what is fatherhood today, and how are we redefining certain roles and things within our community. And I think if you're talking to two black men about abortion, they're going to be sitting there looking like deer's caught in the headlights. Because for the most part, most black men who love their moms will tell you that you don't go in a woman's purse and you stay out of women's conversations, right? But the reality is the conversation about abortion, like now we're talking about family planning. We're talking about legacy, and I think most people would assume like, oh, these guys don't want to be fathers or they're going to pay for the abortion. But on the flip side, there are men who want to be fathers who will tell you that, they found out about the abortion after it happened, or they wanted to keep the baby and this wasn't, an option. They were told that it was, her body, her choice. And I don't think that is going to cause a guy to go jump over on the Trump train. But I do think that we have to start having real conversations about this. Another thing that I've heard in some of these conversations is, well, I don't get a choice in whether or not she has an abortion or doesn't have the abortion, but then I have to pay child support. And so I'm just
and
throwing
also
these things out there because I think there are so many pieces of this that this conversation is so much deeper.
Yeah, but also there's the other piece of it, which is the white supremacist Malthusian roots of some of the Planned Parenthood movement. And so folks put that in a soup for people who don't know and they're concerned. I've heard a lot of conversation on the internet about, the extermination of black people, and it becomes part of this conspiracy portfolio. That's part of my concern is not that it's going to flip someone over to the Trump train necessarily, but what it can do is add fuel to the fire for those who are already wobbling.
Absolutely, and I would even go deeper. They're like, so they want to on one side, the same people, Margaret, when she started Planned Parenthood and her eugenics thing,
Margaret Sanger,
these are the same people that are Republicans now. And then the same people that'll sit here and thump the Bible saying we have to save all of the black babies, these are the same people that are perfectly fine with police using black bodies as target practice. So, make it make sense.
Yeah, it's a good point. Kwamel is calling us from Gardena, folks. Let's see what Kwamel's got on his mind this afternoon.
Well, hello there. I had to check in from the morning squad. I know John people saying has the evil army of the night. Well, we're the good army of the day.
That's right.
So, anyway, I wanted to talk about that important election thing that people love to kind of call. It's like every subsequent election after, this will be the most important. This will be the most important. This will be the most important. I'm concerned that we're trying to get Trump out the paint, but I feel like the right is just not. It's not going to stop. They're just going to find someone crazier and crazier and crazier, and just keep cranking it up and keep making us like trying to have us almost living in fear every single time, and that elections don't just become normal. And not that we want to sit them out and not weigh in, but just this whole thing of constantly having to beat them back and not have a normal good civic policy making decision that is just always kind of beating back the worst evil, the worst potential evil that there would ever be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like there's a cry wolfy vibe to it. That's what I'm worried about. I do think we are facing an existential threat. I do think we are looking at authoritarianism,
Definitely.
fascism, and it's laid all out for you in Project 2025. They tell you what they're going to do. But I just think, I feel like, when I talk to my child, you have to vote. It's the most important election of your lifetime. Rolls eyes, goes back to video game.
But ultimately, and I'll take all three of these comments off the air. it's like, how do we put this threat down for good to where there's not a Project 2029 and a Project 2023, 2037, and so on, where it's just constant that the right just almost seems like they want to like just have it be the 19th century, and I mean the early 19th century all over again, and just break everything. They've broken housing, they've broken car prices. It's like you could buy panel vans for $76,000. They've broken food, all this inflation. Of course, they start with the Biden blaming, the Obama blaming, because they can't. All that personal responsibility, they can't ever take responsibility. But I'll take your thoughts and stop ranting.
I can't wait to hear what Rashad and Sharon have to say about this when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Hello. This is Dr. Rosa Milligan calling authors and business owners to register now for Black Writers on Tour plus Business and Tech Expo Saturday, April 27th, 10 to 3 p.m. at the Carson Community Center.
Authors, aspiring writers, learn how to write, publish, and sell your book. Business owners, let people know where you're at. Call 323-750-3592. It's a free event. You heard right, free. And there's something for everybody. Go to blackwritersontour.com and register today. 323-750-3592.
Literacy and technology is everybody's business. Black Writers on Tour, Saturday, April 27th, 10 to 3 p.m. Admission and parking is free. See you there, 323-750-3592. BlackWritersOnTour.com. Don't you miss it.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dominique DiPrima, honored to be in the seat for Areva Martin today, talking with Sharon Reed and Rashad Frazier Gaines. And Kwamel, out of the chat room and into reality. If you want to join him there, you can go to YouTube, KBLA 1580. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. He was, really framing this question of how do we put down not conservatives, but this threat to our democracy, the attempted coup energy, the now we're going to be an authoritarian nation energy. How do we put it down for good? Sharon, you want to tackle that?
Yeah, and I think what we really wanted to know is how do we end the fight, right? by this members of the right? And the answer is we don't. We don't and we can't. But our responsibility is to stay in the fight. That's what we're supposed to do. And to me, that means recognizing that culture wars aren't really about culture at all. They're designed to keep us poor. And that doesn't mean that there, aren't people who have religious, moral conviction that has them standing up against, say, abortion. But the so-called leaders who take up that fight, who wipe out Roe v. Wade, are in large part not those true believers. They don't have that conviction. They're opportunists. They're bought and paid for. Give us your money, we'll carry out your plan. But culture wars are designed to keep us poor because they divide and distract us. I don't know any woman who's had an abortion or any woman who stands up and says, I'd really love to have an abortion. The framing of it is all wrong. I don't know a woman who says, I'd love to have an abortion. What woman do you know who's using it as birth control? And that doesn't mean that there's not women who have multiple abortions, make moral mistakes, if you will, based on however you believe. But the framing is wrong. We're talking about issues of health, restoring it or losing your life by and large. We're not even really talking about family planning, but we're caught up in these wars where the framing is all wrong by design to try to rope people in who, by and large, actually agree with each other. What I said is not controversial again. Who do you know who is jumping for joy and desiring an abortion? We can all agree on that, I would think.
Well, not only that, and I think this is a big misperception, a lot of women who get abortions already have children. They have 1, 2, or 3 children, and they cannot afford another mouth to feed, or they're in a difficult situation, which would actually be problematic for the children that they currently have. I mean, the perceptions are just really far away from the reality, and it's sad for me to see these women, literally dying or their lives are in danger, facing peril because of what you're framing as culture wars. Rashad Fraser-Gaines, how do you see this in terms of, can we get to the point where we're not, our democracy is in peril in every election?
I don't know if we ever get there. Yeah. And the reason I don't know if we get there is because I don't know if that is the desire of the people that control things, right? Mm-hmm. I think Sharon's point about these things keeping us poor and keeping us, distracted. I think that is true. We don't have. I was gonna say, everyone has a megaphone now. We have a lot of voices, fighting for the good fight. But the thing is, there's so many good fights.
True
right?
that.
So many,
True that. But when we were
so many issues.
But when we were really, Rashad, when we were really plugged into our dictionaries and our encyclopedias, and as Andy says, our textbooks, which are also full of misinformation, I don't remember every election being like do or die for America. Is this the new normal?
Listen, I was 7 in 1992. Okay, I was 7.
Okay.
And that's the first election I remember. Okay.
I thought you were going to say first time you voted.
No. Well, actually, yes, because my mom took me to St. Angela's Hall to vote with her. I always went in the booth with my mom.
Yeah,
like
I made
we
my
used
kid
to be
do
out
the
of
same.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't go to school on election day for some reason. I don't know why. But me and my mom, we would go vote, and then we would go to Mazio's Pizza. And I love voting because that meant I got pizza, right? But you're right. With the world we live in right now, they love the chaos because chaos keeps us not knowing what's really going on. And it's crazy to me that every election is the most definitive election and most important election in our life now. But it seems like it kind of is.
Well,
I think Donald Trump running in 2016, I mean, that was bad.
Yeah, it was,
Like,
and it
wasn't
went from
good.
bad to worse when he actually the way he governed.
Yes,
But I think
yes.
that when you look at the top of the ticket, that cry wolf energy is a real problem for Biden, because the younger generation, Gen Z, my child and younger, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear, vote for Biden because Trump is an existential crisis. They don't want to hear it. They're on that genocide Joe stuff. They don't want to hear about, our democracy's in peril. As far as they're concerned, our democracy is already, in peril. So I don't know, where you go from here.
But Dominique,
Well, I would.
Go ahead real quick, Sharon, and then Rashad, you can make your point.
Well, quickly, I'll just say I do think that we've got to harness the energy and the intelligence of a lot of young people.
Yeah.
They may diss us, and I have one of those too at home, but they do hear and they pay attention. And I don't think we can dictate everything that should be important to them. They are the energy on these college campuses that are involved at the leadership level of farce. And, the New York mayor, who I would have hoped is confined to simply an SNL skit, is sounding off on. Okay? These young people are smart, and they are dialed in, and they do have a different bottom line, and they do have a different negotiating power of all or nothing. And perhaps that is going to leave us in peril again with someone infesting the White House again. But at the end of the day, it's their country too. And if they're allowed to vote, it's up to them as well.
Yep.
How do we expand the tent? Okay? Because I think they care more about, Chris Brown and Quavo Shore and their diss track,
I might
but also
too.
about other important issues.
All right, Rashad,
Me
I'm giving you the last word here.
I was just going to say, when I speak to Democratic operatives and I share these same sentiments that we're talking now, and I'm like, listen, because he's not Trump is not the tagline you should be using. The Democratic Party is going to have to go into the lab and figure this out. They're going to have to listen to voices that they don't want to listen to. They're going to have to do this if they want to get this right, because this doesn't just stop with Trump.
Absolutely.
This is going to continue. Biden can win, but the Republicans are going to continue this.
Yeah, I got to leave it there. Sharon Reed and Rashad Fraser-Gaines, thank you for a lively conversation.
Appreciate you.
News, traffic, sports, and more on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A North Carolina law criminalizing voting for people with felony convictions is no longer in effect. A federal judge struck down the legislation, saying it was created with discriminatory intent and continues to disproportionately impact Black voters.